Live from our studios, here's Property TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, a huge welcome to our latest edition of Property TV. On today's program, we have James Cavanough from Northern Business Consultants to discuss purchasing property via self-managed super funds. But before we speak to James, here is Kevin Turner with the very latest in property news.
Thank you. A decision by the state government to remove the concession on stamp duty when you purchase a home in Queensland is likely to have a devastating effect on the market and certainly add substantially to the cost of buying a new home. That removal of the concession does not apply to first home buyers, provided their purchase does not exceed $500,000. In another move, the state government has announced a $10,000 grant when you purchase a newly constructed home. This is for all purchases and will apply on any property up to $600,000. That comes into effect on August 1 and will remain in place for 6 months. Pamela Bennett from the REIQ says that while anything that's going to help the ailing construction industry is good and brings in more jobs, the removal of that concession is likely to have a very bad effect on the Queensland property market, because you need to remember that in any 1 month, all the homes that are financed in Queensland, 60% of them are to non-first home buyers. That's all for this month. I'll see you next time.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Thanks very much for joining us, James. Now, at Northern Business Consultants, you're the specialist in relation to superannuation, and of late it has become easier for clients to purchase property via their superannuation.
That's correct.
Would you be able to go into a little more detail?
Yeah, sure, Andrew. Yeah, that's right. Basically, the government has legislated the ability for super funds, self-managed super funds, to acquire property directly or with borrowings inside a self-managed super fund. It is the only structure, the self-managed super fund is the only structure that can acquire direct property. It can include residential property or commercial property. And now the ability to borrow is by way of an instalment structure to meet the regulations set by the Australian Taxation Office. This means essentially there is limited recourse upon default of a loan to the remaining assets of the superannuation fund, only to the property. Okay, essentially the super fund enters a loan agreement with an approved financier, and the property title is held in a bare trust, and essentially the rental income is paid to the super fund to allow the loan repayments to be made.
So some of the complexities are really in the initial setup of the structure, and from then on it's a relatively simple process, and having someone like yourself discuss one-on-one with the client is probably the safest way to go.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Andrew. Look, we do need to attend to the funding requirements. We need to discuss cash flow, leverage, setting up the super fund, and reviewing the property characteristics is very important. Yeah. And there are a number of compliance requirements to ensure that the structure is sound, which is why you do need to see an advisor like myself.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose with the current market conditions, ideal for purchasing property, whether it be residential or commercial, now's the time to take that step.
Yeah, there are opportunities presenting themselves. There are some interesting things with commercial property, for instance, and this may suit people who own business real property in their own names. The real property, it could be a shed, it could be a warehouse, can be transferred into the self-managed super fund. It's an exempt asset under a related party transfer. This is unlike a residential property. You can't do that. You have to buy it on the market.
James, that sounds interesting. And how does it work?
A property investor who follows this arrangement cannot live in the property. Okay, so it has to produce an income to meet, accumulation of retirement. And may include a loan agreement as well. And a property cannot be improved with the funds held in a super fund. So there are some tricks and traps in there. Again, it does get a bit complex, but best to have an initial discussion and start from there.
Fantastic. James, thanks very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. And ladies and gentlemen, anyone who has any superannuation questions, I thoroughly encourage them to contact our office to make an appointment with James. And now to this month's feature property.
Recently completed, these 2 homes are ready for you to move in, put your feet up and start enjoying the Scarborough lifestyle. With 3 bedrooms plus a study recess, media room, open-plan living and a kitchen to delight the budding chef and the family. In close proximity to the water, local restaurants and boutique shopping, entertaining options are plentiful. Which home you choose may be your biggest decision yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching our latest episode of Property TV. For any other information on that property or any other information about self-managed supers, please give us a call on 3883 9999 or visit our website redcliffe.com.au. And until next time, thank you very much for watching our show.